Good morning, students. Today we are going to study the science subject, and the first lesson in science is crop production and management. Crop production means to produce the crops, and management means to manage the produced crops. Here in science lesson, two characters are given in each lesson, which are Paheli and Buju. Paheli and Buju once went to their uncle's house during the summer vacation. Their uncle is a farmer. One day they saw some tools in the farm like khurpi, sickle, shovel, and plough. After watching these tools, the Buzu wondered that how these tools are used. We have learned that all the living organisms require food. We also need food to stay alive. Plants can prepare their own food themselves. Can you recall how green plants synthesize their own food? Think. Yes, plants synthesize their own food by the process of photosynthesis, in which the chlorophyll present in the leaves, with the help of water, minerals, and sunlight, prepare their own food. Animals, including humans, cannot make their own food. We cannot make our own food. We are dependent on the plants and animals for our food. So, where animals get their food from? But first of all, why do we have to eat food? Why we need to eat food? Why? Because we need energy to do work. We already know that energy from the food is utilized by organism for carrying out their various body functions. In our body, so many different systems are there, and to carry that functions of the system such as digestion, respiration, and excretion, we get our food from plants or animals or both. Food has to be produced on a large scale. Now the Paheli is wondering that food has to be produced on a large scale. In order to provide food for a large population in India, we know that the population is very large, and to provide the food to this population, regular production, proper management, and distribution is necessary. Now our next topic is, that is 1.1, agricultural practices. Agricultural practices means which practices are used in agriculture. When plants of the same kind, now the question is that what is crop? To what we will say a crop? Okay. When plants of the same kinds are cultivated and at one place on a large scale, it is called a crop. We can take an example of the rice crop. We all are known of it. For example, the crop of wheat means that all the plants grown in a field that are of wheat. We already know that crops are of different types like cereals, vegetables, and fruits. This can be classified on the basis of the seasons in which they grow. Like India is a vast country, and the climatic conditions in India are also varied. The temperature is different in the different region. So depending on this, in the different region, different crops are produced. Accordingly, there is a variety of crops grown in different parts of the country. Despite this diversity, two broad cropping patterns can be identified, that is the Kharif crop and the Rabi crop. The Kharif crop, the first is Kharif crop. Kharif crops are grown in rainy season, and the duration of this crop is June to September. In this, the maize, soybean, groundnut, cotton are Kharif crops. Rabi crops. The crops which are grown in winter season, that is during the duration of October to March, are called Rabi crop. Examples are wheat, gram, pea, mustards. Besides these pulses and vegetables are also grown during summer at many places. Now we are moving to the next topic, that is basic practices of crop production. Means what are the things that we need to do for taking crop production. Now another question has arisen to the Buzu, that why paddy cannot be grown in the winter season. Why? Because the paddy requires lot of water. Therefore, it is grown only in the rainy season. Cultivation of crop involves several activities undertaken by farmers over a period of time. You may find that these activities are similar to those carried out by a gardener. Okay, and these activities are as follows. The agricultural practices. The first, preparation of soil. Second, sowing. Third, adding manure and fertilizers. Fourth, irrigation. Fifth, protecting from weeds. Sixth, harvesting. And seventh is storage. Now we will see in a detail about the preparation of soil. The preparation of soil, the first is to turn the soil and loosen it. Do you know what the farmers are doing in the first? This allows the roots to penetrate deep. Penetrate deep into the soil means to go deep into the soil. The loose soil allows roots to breathe easily even when they go deep into the soil. This first step helps plants to breathe properly. Why does the loosening of soil allow the roots breathe easily? The loosened soil helps in the growth of earthworms and microbes present in the soil. These organisms are friends of the farmer. We have already studied that earthworms are known as the friends of the farmer. Why they are called the friends of the farmer? Because they turn the loosened soil and add humus to it. But why the soil needs to be turned and loosened? Why this process is done? Why the soil is prepared before crop production? Okay, we have learned in the previous classes the soil contains minerals, water, air and some living organisms. In addition, whatever the plants and animals are being dead, that are also decomposed by the soil organisms. In this way, various nutrients in the dead organisms are released back into the soil, and these nutrients are again absorbed by the plants. So there is a cycle of the nutrients. Since only a few centimeters of the top layer of the soil supports plant growth, turning and loosening of soil brings the nutrient-rich soil to the top so that plants can use these nutrients. This turning and loosening of the soil helps the plants to get the nutrients properly. Turning and loosening of soil is very important for the cultivation of crops. The process of loosening and turning of soil is known as the tilling or ploughing. Tilling is a new word for you. Ploughing you all know, which farmers are doing before sowing the seeds. This is done by using a plough. Ploughs are made of wood or iron. Here the plough is, you might have seen this. This is the traditional method of doing farming, and this is the tool plough. Ploughs are made of wood or iron. If the soil is very dry, it may need watering before ploughing. If the soil is dry, the plough cannot turn it or cannot lose it. So we need to water that soil before ploughing. The ploughed field may have big clumps of soil called crumbs. It is necessary to break these crumbs. Leveling the field is beneficial for sowing as well as for the irrigation. After loosening or after turning the soil, we need to level it again. Why to level? Because it is beneficial when we sow the seeds and when we irrigate the field. Sometimes manure is added to soil before tilling. Before ploughing, the manure is also added. Why? So that the manure can go and mix into the soil properly. This helps the proper mixing of manure with the soil, and the soil is moistened before sowing. Now the next is agricultural implements. Implements means nothing but the tools which are used in the agriculture. Before sowing the seeds, it is necessary to break the clumps to get better yield. This is done with the help of various tools or various implements. The main tools used in this purpose are the plough, the hoe and the cultivator. Now we will see about the plough. This is being used since ancient times for tilling the soil, adding fertilizers to crop, removing the weeds and turning the soil. This is made of wood and drawn by a pair of bulls. As we have seen in this picture, a person is there, the plough is attached to the bulls and the field is ploughed. This is made of wood and is drawn by the pair of bulls. It contains a strong triangular iron strip called plowshare. This strong triangular iron strip is known as a plowshare. The main part of the plough is a long log of wood which is called a plough shaft. There is a handle at one end of the shaft. The other end is attached to the beam which is placed on the bull's neck. See, some part of this plough is placed on the bull's neck. One pair of the bulls and a man can easily operate the plough. To operate, we need a man and pair of bulls. Now the next is hoe. It is a simple tool which is used for removing weeds and for loosening the soil. When we are taking production of crops, it is necessary to remove the weeds. It has a long rod of wood or iron. A strong, broad and bent plate of iron is fixed to one of its ends. See, here you can see the picture of how it looks. Works like a blade. It is pulled by animals. Now the next is cultivator. Nowadays ploughing is done by tractor driven cultivator. The use of cultivator saves labor and time. The plough which is used need pair of bulls and a man, and it takes time to plough the field, but with this cultivator we can save the labor also and the time also. Now the next is sowing. After preparation of the soil, we sow the seeds. So in sowing is an important part of crop production. Before sowing seeds, what the things are there which are taken in mind, that is good quality, clean and healthy seeds of a good variety. Farmers prefer to use seeds which are high yield. High yield means which gives more production. Now how you will do the selection of seeds? The one experiment is done by Paheli. One day She saw her mother put some gram seeds in a vessel and pour some water on them. After a few minutes, some seeds started to float on the top. Then she wondered why these seeds float on the water. You can also do this activity that whenever you will take some seeds and add water to it, some seeds starts floating on the water. Why this happens? Because the seeds which floats on the water are not of good quality to sow. Okay. This is good method for separating food, healthy seeds from the damaged ones. Before sowing, one of the important tasks is to know about the tools used for sowing the seeds. As we have seen that some tools are used for the preparation of soil, which were plough, hoe and cultivator. There are the tools which are used to sow the seeds. The traditional tools. The tool used traditionally for sowing seeds is shaped like a funnel. The seeds are filled into the funnel, passed down through 2 or 3 pipes having sharp ends. These ends pierce into the soil and place seeds there. Okay, with this traditional tool, the seeds are put into the funnel and the 3 pipes are there which are immersed into the or pyrus. Pyrus means to insert it into the soil which place the seeds over there. Now the next is seed drill. Nowadays the seed drill, as shown in the above figure, is used for sowing with the help of tractors. This sows the seeds uniformly at equal distance and depth. It ensures that seeds get covered by the soil after sowing. The seeds are sown at equal distance and equal depth in the soil, and again after sowing the seeds are covered with the soil. This protects seeds from being eaten by birds. As the seeds are covered with the soil, it protects seeds from being eaten by birds. Sowing by using a seed drill saves the time and labor. These are the modern equipments, and these modern equipments use the or saves the time and labor. There is a nursery. Now the Buzu is wondering something, that there is a nursery. Nursery means where the crops of plants we are getting. Near his school, he found little plants were kept in a small bags. Why are they kept like this? Seeds of a few plants such as paddy are first grown in a nursery, and when they grown into seedling means a small crop, they are transplanted to the field manually. From forest plants and flowering plants are also grown in nursery. Okay, now the appropriate distance between the seeds is necessary to avoid the overcrowding of plant. With this proper distance, the plant can get the proper mineral from the soil and the sunlight from the sun. This allows plant to get the sufficient sunlight, nutrients and water from the soil. At times, few plants may have to be removed to prevent overcrowding. If anyhow the plants have grown near to each other, some of them will be taken out. Okay, now the next topic is adding manure and fertilizer. Now the two things are there, the manure and the fertilizer. What is the manure means and what is the fertilizer means? Manure is prepared using the organic materials, that is the natural things, and fertilizer is prepared using the chemicals in the factories. This manure and fertilizers are added to the soil to get the nutrients to the plants. Okay. Now the Bozo is wondering that he saw a healthy crop growing in a farm in the neighboring farm. The plants were weak. Why do some plants grow better than others? Okay. Soil supplies minerals, nutrients to the crop plants. These nutrients are essential for the growth of plants in certain areas. Farmers can grow crop after crop in the same field. The field is never left uncultivated or fallow. Imagine what happens to the nutrients if one crop is taken. Lot of nutrients are being used by that crop, and if in that field again another crop is taken, then what will happen with the crop? Continuous cultivation of crops makes the soil poor in nutrients. If we are keep on taking production of crops in the same field, then the soil will become poor in the nutrients. Therefore, farmers have to add manure to the field to replenish the soil with the nutrients. This process is called manuring. Improper or insufficient manuring results to weak plants. Means whenever we are providing manure, it should be proper and sufficient. Manure is an organic substance obtained from the decomposition of plants or animal waste. Farmers dumps the plants and animal waste in pits. Pits means you can say a hole, and at open places and allow it to decompose. Decompose means some microorganism stays on this dead plants and the animal waste and they decompose it. The decomposition is caused by some microorganism. The decomposed matter is used as organic manure, and about this we have already studied in the